Hello, everyone. It's actually Sunday. It's Chat with Mac. We're glad to have you. Thank you to everyone who watches our videos on a week by week basis. We appreciate you. We appreciate your feedback. Subscribe. There's a subscribe button there. Please press it. Artificial AGI, if I'm not mistaken, it's AGT.
Yeah, so artificial general intelligence, right?
Intelligence.
AGI. Yeah.
Interesting concept because we were talking about how ChatGPT4 was really a huge step forward towards this. So for those of you that don't know, Nadeem is definitely going to get into this. This is basically where artificial intelligence can understand things that a human can understand. I know for some people that's scary and all this other stuff, but there's some real world applications that Nadeem has always pointed towards that this can help us on. And talk more about that, Nadeem.
A little bit of an overview without boring everybody. So the big shift. So we've talked about artificial intelligence for decades now, right? But it always used to be somebody's programming something to do something, right? It wasn't that something was not automatically learning like a child learns from its environment. That's not what was happening. And recently when GPT, came into the picture, the notion of instead of trying to like forcefully program intelligence into a machine,
yeah,
we started to think of let the machine learn on its own. So program how to learn and then let it learn by itself. That's really where the shift happened. And I think it kind of happened as we understood the human brain more, how the human brain works, right? Like neurons and the connections between neurons and how certain memories become coded. It's basically it's all mathematics in our brain, right? So certain the example might be for example, if you have the picture of a lion and a leopard, and a lion and a leopard might be in thousands, like a lion might be 1,000 in our brain and a leopard might be 2,000 in our brain, but they're both 1,000 and 2,000. They're very similar. But a coffee cup might be 20. That's a very different number. And that's how the brain makes connections, right? So when we see lions and leopards, we think Africa, we think, that we think predatory animals, right? Yeah. Because of those numbering schemes. That's how the mind learns. And with ChatGPT4, that's what the computer is trying to do, is instead of teaching the computer, if this is this, then this means this. Instead of teaching them all that, we tell the computer, hey, we're going to give you some samples. You should learn from the samples. And that's what ChatGPT did. ChatGPT just learns from a few samples, and it can then generally apply that to the rest of the world. Now, keep in mind, ChatGPT is doing some great things when it comes to certain fields. For example, when writing or coding, things like that, it can do some amazing things, right? It seems like it's working like a higher than average human intelligence at that point when it's doing certain things. It's doing those certain things when it does not have all the sensors that a human has. We have our feeling in our fingers. We have a sense of smell. We have eyesight. All it's going by is just the code, and yet it can do some of these things so well that it kind of rivals. Actually, it does a better job than a lot of the humans. It's above average, right? So the whole notion of AGI, or artificial general intelligence, is, think of your favorite science fiction movie where you have a robot that you talk to like a human.
C-3PO, Star Wars.
You don't have to talk to a robot differently. It's like I'll give you an example. Right now, when my wife is saying something to Siri, she changes her tone. She enunciates words very clearly so Siri can understand. When we don't have to do that, when we just talk natural language, that's when we have arrived into the AGI world. That's where we're trying to get to. And uh, when you take that a step further, it's going to be like, like I gave you the example earlier, that was offline, was like if you're talking to a machine and you're talking about a certain subject, let's say you're talking about coding, and then all of a sudden you say, oh, by the way, the sun is really nice out there today, and the machine is just going to go bonkers because it's going to be like, what the hell does that have to do with our code? What do you mean? Where do I plug that into the code? Right?
Right.
Because artificial general intelligence is not there yet. Once artificial general intelligence is there, the machine will know, and it will know how to respond. Oh, yes, the weather is nice, isn't it? And then go back to your task.
Almost a dialogue with a machine that I would have with another human, where, like you said, it said, man, it's sunny out there. And then it said, I use Alexa. Alexa say something along the lines of, yeah, it's 73 degrees and sunny with a chance of this much rain, and go back. That's almost like, whoa, that we're itching closer towards that.
Yeah, and that's really, when we as humans are going to have a lot of support in just doing the mundane things in life, right? Think about it a step further. Like right now, you can do this already. Like, your car passes a certain geofence, and your house turns the lights on, brings the temperature down. It's getting ready for you to arrive because it knows you've passed that geofence, right? You've passed a certain parameter, so you are coming to the house, and as you drive up to the driveway, your garage door automatically opens. Things like that we can already do. But you take that to the next level, you can have a conversation with the machine. The machine understands the historic context of everything, right? So you say, yeah, hey, the weather is nice, but the machine says, yeah, but you better take an umbrella tomorrow with you because it's going to rain tomorrow, because it knows you have an appointment tomorrow at this time and it's going to rain in that time. So that will be the conversation. That's how we convert. That's how we talk to humans, right?
Yeah.
Like, like if you're talking to somebody and the somebody's like, oh yeah, but well, yeah, you're going out tomorrow. The weather's nice, but tomorrow, hey, when you go to your doctor's appointment, make sure you take an umbrella or whatever. So. And that's where we're trying to get to. And with AGI, that's where I think we are already seeing sparks of that happening with GPT-4. With GPT-4, we are almost there. I mean, sometimes it kind of gets the hair, standing on my arm, because it's like, because it almost feels like so humanistic. It's like, wow, it understood that. It's like, I didn't like it is far better than my expectation, right? So when that happens, that's when we get goosebumps, like, right? It's like, oh wow, I didn't expect it to understand that what I said, but it did.
Mm.
And those are the things that we're seeing right now, are the sparks of that in GPT-4. And when GPT-5 comes out, that's really going to change it. That's really going to. GPT-4 was that moonshot. That's going to be another moonshot when that happens. Every little advancement that we are seeing, each one of these little steps has a compounding effect.
Mm.
So you have like four little steps, but then you can combine those four steps in different ways, and you can make so many more steps. So little steps, but the end result is like so many times better than the just the four steps. And that's what's happening right now. It was like, when we kind of clicked and said, okay, we don't need to tell the computers what to do. Don't give them the actual code of what to do, but teach them how to learn. And once they do that, then now they can just learn it. So that's all GPT was, right? It was just, it can learn. You can give it a sample of whatever, and it can learn from that. Like, you can train it on, poetry, or you can train it on something specific. So it'll be more attuned to your subject matter, and if you can take just the pre-trained engine, and then you can train it further into your specific field that you want your engine to run. And you can run, ChatGPT 4 and things like that. You can run on your own. And one of the other things that people have started doing is have multiple ChatGPT engines. Each ChatGPT engine asks questions to the other ChatGPT engine to train it better. Right now we do it as humans, right? So if you're doing ChatGPT, you ask it certain things and you clarify certain things and you set certain context of your conversation. You make sure it understands what you're saying and all of that, right? And then at the end you say, okay, now tell me this. And it knows what, because it has all the context and the background and everything is already there. So imagine this: if you have multiple ChatGPT engines and they're building that context with each other and they're communicating with each other and asking questions with each other without you as a human having to set that context up. Now you as a human just ask them, okay, banana is sweet, isn't it? I really want a banana. It will already know what to say because it's already done all that communication amongst itself. Really, it's almost like multiple people having a conversation, and then you just be one of those people that's having a conversation, because it's just 3-4 different ChatGPT engines having a conversation with each other, and then you as a human asking them something.
And learning from that.
Yeah, I mean, it's like multiple brains are always better than one brain, right?
This is true.
So that's really where it's going.
This is true. That's amazing.
So yeah, I mean, I think well, ChatGPT 5 is really going to be another huge leap. But the problem that I think that companies are running into, even OpenAI, there's a lot of debate and discussion going on, and I'm sure in the news too, is there are a lot of companies that are trying to halt AI advancement where it's at right now. And that's a double-edged sword, right? On one camp, people are saying, no, we don't. On the other camp, people are saying, yes, we do. But I would say always look at the people who are for or against it. What value is it to them? So for example, if somebody is against AI, but they themselves have a huge investment in AI, why are they against AI advancement? Is it really because to save humanity, or is it really so that they can prevent anybody else to get where they are, so they can always have that edge on everybody else? I always have to think about this, right? It's like, famous people, talking about, oh yeah, we need to block this, but hey, wait a minute, you have a lot of investment in AI. Why are you talking about blocking it? Because you are already ahead of most of the people out there. You don't want other people to get to your level. So you want to put measures in place to forcefully block them where they are, so you can keep your edge, right? Because you're already past a certain point. So anyway, I mean, that's a whole another debate. But the thing is, the genie is kind of out of the bag, right? It's supposed to be the cat out of the bag, but it's the genie out of the bag, right? But anyway, so the genie's not going back in. Even if we have something and we try to prevent it, the technology, the concept is out. And if we don't do it, somebody else is going to do it, right? And by that, what I mean is, if company A is not going to do it, company B is going to do it. And if country A is not going to do it, country B is going to do it. And that's the thing, because it's out of the bag now, and it's one of those things that I think is going to be really hard to stop, because you're always, it's kind of like the next arms race, right? It's the same thing. It's the next arms race. It's like, okay, if we put these things in place and all the Western countries stop doing AI advancement, how are you going to prevent the rest of the world from stopping AI advancement?
This is true.
But I mean, so AGI is the next level, and I think that's where. I mean, and there's so many discussions we can have. We're already past our time, but there's so many things that we can talk about. Like, people have talked about, getting AGI and then transferring, a human mind, whatever a mind has learned, into it somehow. And if you can do that, are you replicating yourself? And if you are replicating, can you live forever that way? And it's like there's all kinds of discussions around that. And I mean, the impact on human life is just huge. I don't think we've even like touched the tip of the iceberg yet. We're just starting out. This thing that we're doing with ChatGPT, we just started doing it. I mean, people hadn't even heard about it 3 months ago, right?
That's correct.
I mean, so the thing is that this thing is gonna be the next big leap, and the beauty of it is, it wasn't that we needed a lot of compute power. It's just that we didn't think of it the right way. And when we started thinking about it the right way, it just happened to be that the cloud technologies were where they were at, and we had a lot of this horsepower as far as compute goes available to us.
But we've been. I mean, this has been something that, like you said, I mentioned this before. And this is kind of thing with the short time that we have. This is why I get a little. I look at people with a side eye when they get a little. Oh, this is Big Blue. I mean, that was like one of the initial steps into this. If I remember correctly, and I'm not sure why people are looking at this with such fear, because they've been studying this forever. I mean, it was bound to happen. It just was.
Yeah. And there are going to be I mean, like with anything in life, there are going to be pros and cons. Of course, some people are going to try to use it for the bad. Maybe somebody's going to model, how to rob a bank or whatever. I mean, we can't stop that. But
right.
But the thing is, the pros, I think, so much far outweigh the cons. Exactly. I mean, this opens up the world of where we can have pet animals, for example, for elderly people that can actually communicate with people. And I'm just giving an example here. Let's say an old person that's in their own place, that people get lonely when they're old and they don't have anybody to communicate with. The kids, they all are grown, they're gone, and so what do? Yeah, you can have an animal, but you got to take care of the animal. When you get old, you really can't take care, much less take care of an animal. You can't even take care of yourself, right? Yeah. So maybe having a pet with an artificial intelligence that can keep the mind motivated and moving. It's because when the body becomes weak and people, they're not getting the sensory inputs, that's when their mind starts to go. But if we can keep that mind stimulated, then that will keep going. But I mean, the possibilities are just so immense. It's just I mean, the things we haven't even thought of that are gonna come into play here. And I think the next, the ChatGPT5, when it comes out, it's just going to be huge. I mean, we're going to see, like, we're still waiting for some of these technologies to get commercialized. Like, I know customers ask me about Copilot, Microsoft Copilot is like, hey man, when is that coming out? It's like, hey, you're in line. Everybody's going to get it. Just, if you have an E-plan, you're going to get it. Just be patient. So by the time Copilot comes out, ChatGPT5 is already going to be out. So, I mean, it's like, wow, things are going to be just so much, moving so much faster in this whole area. And then that brings to the forefront, like, I was talking earlier with somebody who they're trying to diagnose, somebody's losing their memory and they can't remember things right. So they're trying to figure out what's wrong. If you can throw that, if some sort of artificial intelligence had access to all of the documents that and discussion papers and things that doctors have, in a specific field, let's say neurology, then I mean, I'd rather ask the AI. I mean, you give all the symptoms to the AI and let the AI predict what it is, right? You're so much closer to, because right now the main frustration that this person has is they go to one doctor and the doctor is sending them for tests here and there and they can't figure out. So then and the big problem is they're sending them for tests in labs that are not covered in their insurance. And it's like, dude, what the hell is the
Right, what's
you know
that about?
but it would be so much better if you can give all the symptoms. Now, not even that. AI can be designed where you can have a conversation with the AI for a little bit and it can detect. It can ask you questions and detect what is that is ailing you as far as memory goes. Because I mean, these systems are just, I mean, we just haven't thought about creating these systems. We have the technology to do it, right? And I think what's going to happen is when artificial intelligence advances to a point where it can start to self-learn without us teaching it, start to self-learn. For example, somebody create a model where, four or five different chat GPT engines are talking to each other, and these engines are feeding each other from information repositories that are available to them. And each one of these engines could have access to different repositories. So, one of them maybe is connected to the internet, is just using the internet for that, just general internet. Another one might be connected into, some organization for dentists. Another one is, neurologists. So all these engines can be talking to each other. Now you have one big source of information. So you can just, talk to this one engine and it can tell you, hey, these are the symptoms. This is what we're thinking it is. This is 90% probability. This is what it is, in a few minutes, as opposed to doing what we're doing right now. I mean, it's taking the human out of the intelligence part.
Yeah.
But I mean, the possibilities are endless. I'm now going down a different path, but the possibilities are endless on this, and the way the way it's changing exponentially, the advancement, the rate of advancement is just, we haven't seen this. The rate of change in AI has been so fast. I don't think we can compare it to anything historically ever. I mean, it's that fast. So I don't think we can stop it. But and I think it's going to change our lives. I mean, just a few months ago, we recorded a video where we were saying, we live in exciting times, and here we are. At that time, we hadn't even heard about ChatGPT.
Just that quick, here we are. I mean, it's crazy.
I mean, we thought those were exciting times. Think about it right now. So I think with that, we'll call it a day. We've talked about AGI. So it's artificial general intelligence. Think about it like, just talking to a machine like you would talk to a human, and it understand everything in the context that you're in. We're almost there. We're seeing the sparks of AGI right now in ChatGPT4, and ChatGPT5 is just going to kick it into high gear.
Yeah, awesome.
So everybody have a great day. Be safe out there. We'll see you next time.
Have a good one. See you next time.